2025 Formula One season is finally over, and today in this video, we're going to do a quick summary and what are the insane things that happened in this season. For example, what is wrong with Lewis Hamilton? Does Lando really deserve the championship? So, in this video, we'll be answering some questions. We will be talking about each race, and I have a lot of insane things planned for you guys. Starting with Australia, and let me remind you that during free practice, Ferrari was already asked to lift and coast. That's where it all started and never ended. Australia honestly was a crazy race. We had Isaac Hadjar who did the first rookie moment of the season, which was crashing in the formation lap. That's where we had also one of the cutest moments of the season where we saw Anthony Hamilton, who's the father of Lewis Hamilton, go and talk to Hadjar and make him feel better because of course his family had come for the race and he was crying, and it was honestly very cute. I mean, not the crash, but the pacifying part was very cute. Lando went wide, Oscar went wide, Kimi Antonelli finished 4th, and Lance was in top 6. 6 DNFs including Carlos Sainz, and with that we had a banger of a start of the season. But no one could ever predict what happens in China. After a very bad start for Ferrari, we had a sprint pole for Lewis Hamilton. He also won the sprint race, which was insane, and all of us thought that, hey, maybe Ferrari is back. But then, what happened in China remains in China, especially for Ferrari. We had the first DSQ of the season, and it was a double Ferrari along with a Pierre Gasly DSQ. And the fun fact here is that Ferrari, in the history of Ferrari, has never had a double DSQ. So that is one record they broke in 2025, which is pretty insane in my opinion. And then we move to one of my favorite tracks, Suzuka in Japan. The breaking news of Suzuka was that Lawson was out and was replaced by the home hero Tsunoda, who did not perform at all in Japan. Well, he did not perform throughout the season, maybe a little towards the end of the season, but in Japan he did not perform at all. But the good news is that in Japan we saw the first Max Verstappen win. But the question over here is, how did Max Verstappen manage a win over Papaya, who has literally built a rocket ship in 2025 in Japan? The thing is that Japan has very less tire degradation in general. So it's all about the driver, not about the car. And the most important thing about Japan in general is the qualifying, where Max Verstappen did exceptionally well, hence he won the race. After that, we had Bahrain, which was honestly a very interesting race. But who was it interesting for? It was interesting for Ferrari, who again in the last stint of the race had to increase their pressure, which caused them the podium. Russell killed it, and Max in the Red Bull was a big disaster. But what was wrong with Ferrari? I mean, 4 races down and no podium, literally not being able to perform. I mean, they were looking to fight for championship, which gets to the first question of this video. What was wrong with the SF25? We were told in December and during the hype season or the aura farming season of Ferrari that the drivers and the team is aiming for championship. The expectations were very high, but 4 races down and only a sprint win along with a double DSQ and nothing really special throughout the season was very concerning for Tifosis and all of us in general. Like, what is wrong with Ferrari? Now, the main issue over here are the engineers. The engineers set the rev low, which gives performance, like in China, but the engineers don't hold up. They don't know how the car is going to react to aerodynamic loads and bumps, and that's what ends up wearing the planks so bad. They had updates in Austria and Belgium. But the problem lies in how the machine is built, which in this case is SF25, and I'm sorry to say it is not built properly. The entire SF25 project is a scam. The only thing that could tackle this situation is lift and coast, and that's what the drivers have done throughout the season and have had one of the worst seasons for Ferrari. Like, no win is not a Ferrari thing. Now, moving on from Ferrari, because all of us are still depressed, we come to Jeddah. Jeddah was a very interesting race after Bahrain and China, because guess who was on podium? Oscar Piastri took his 2nd win in a row in Jeddah. And there were some cute moments between Max Verstappen and Oscar Piastri, nothing special. Now coming to Miami, which was one insane race. It was raining in Miami and Kimi Antonelli took a sensational pole for the race. But the start of the race was honestly a little bit chaotic for him, but it's okay. We remember the Paul Antonelli, you rock. Charles Leclerc crashed in the sprint formation lap, but then to cover that up, we had Lewis Hamilton on the sprint podium. I mean, there's no podium as such, but he was third in the sprint race, which is great. Miami honestly was great for George Russell. I have actually become a George Russell fan in 2025, I'm not gonna lie, and I might make a whole video about it. But the breaking news of Miami was that we had lost Jack Doohan and was replaced by Franco Colapinto, whose job was to generate points for Alpine team along with Pierre Gasly. How many points did Colapinto actually score? Right, moving on. After Miami, we went to Imola. The sad part about Imola was that both the Ferraris did not make it to Q3. Tsunoda had a really dirty crash in Q1, and bad luck for Alex Albon, who was chasing his podium in Williams in 2025. But here we had a Ferrari moment where Lewis Hamilton overtook Charles Leclerc and all Hamilton fans literally got an orgasm. Now in Monaco, we had something interesting. We had a compulsory 2 pit stops, which we thought would make the race very interesting and Monaco is going to be back and we are going to love it. But honestly, Monaco was very boring. In fact, it was so boring that there was a whole mind game thing going on in the midfield, which really annoyed George Russell, where he just overtook in the chicane and said, you know what, fuck it. If I get a penalty, I get a penalty. I don't care. I'm bored. And that's what happened. He got a penalty. But guys, the important thing is that Isaac Hadjar had qualified 6th in Monaco, which gets me to my next main question. Who is the rookie of the year? For me, I have repeatedly said in almost all my videos that the rookie of the year for me in 2025 is definitely Isaac Hadjar. I mean, he had a very rocky start. He literally DNF'd in his first race, but after that, the way that man has picked up, he's totally shown that he's loved by his team. He is the #1 driver right now. He's performed so well. He's been on podium along with Liam Lawson, along with Yuki Tsunoda, along with team principal changes, along with the new team, like so much happening in Red Bull family in general. I think he really deserves to be rookie of the year, and for me, Isaac Hadjar, you are the star. After Monaco, we went to Spain. And now in Spain, the thing is that the best car wins, not the best driver, because Spain is a pretty technically set up track. Now Spain was, I think, the first turning point in the championship because Max was going for a 3 pit stop. But thanks to Kimi Antonelli, who had an engine failure and got a safety car out, where Max went into the pit and realized that he has no soft tires left. So he had to come out on the hard, which cost him the podium because he was overtaken by Charles Leclerc and George Russell. While that was happening, he also had a moment with George Russell where he pushed George a little too hard, because of which he had to get a 10-second penalty, because of which he dropped from 5th position to 10th position. And for a Max Verstappen fan, this race was a horrendous race and I would not like to talk about it. Moving to Canada. Now McLaren in Canada got some modifications in the front suspension which made Lando very quick. He tries to overtake Piastri towards the end but hits him instead, and that is one of the most stupidest mistakes that Lando Norris made throughout the season. This is an advantage for Kimi Antonelli because Kimi Antonelli got his first podium in 2025 in his rookie year in Canada. Also, Charles Leclerc had crashed out during practice in Canada because he was testing a new brake, which led him to make a mistake in the quali, and both the Reds have struggled in Canada like they have struggled throughout the season. Now coming to Austria, where Lando Norris totally dominates the entire weekend. And Ferrari has come out with a new floor which gets Charles on podium, and thanks to Kimi again, that Max and Kimi crash and Max Verstappen is out of the race. Kimi Antonelli, I will remember this. But the thing that I want to talk about at the Austrian Grand Prix was that it was a great weekend for Liam Lawson. He really started improving from this weekend, and I think he really deserved Driver of the Day in Austria. Did he get it? I don't know, but I think I would give him Driver of the Day in Austria for sure. Now coming to Great Britain, which was definitely one of the moments of 2025 when Nico Hülkenberg got his first podium. Guys, this is all I want to say about Silverstone, nothing more apart from that. Which also gets me to my next question, which is the best podium of 2025? And it hands down is Nico Hülkenberg. Guys, just imagine, like, this guy has been in Formula One for 15 years. He's never got a podium, and he got his first podium in 2025, where Sauber is just about to turn into Audi. This is the last time that we're going to see Sauber on the grid. They have not come in top 3 since 2012, and next year they're going to be a whole new team, and Nico Hülkenberg does the best thing ever. He gets a fucking podium. So for me, this was the best podium, but I also have a tie with another podium this year, which is Carlos Sainz in Qatar. What a man, Carlos Sainz, what a man, Nico Hülkenberg. I love you guys. Next, we had Belgium. Let's remember Spa as a circuit, because in the future, Spa might be in Formula One sometimes, might not be in Formula One sometimes, all about the money. But the important thing that happened in Spa was that Christian Horner was out and was replaced by Laurent Mekies. Now, who is Laurent Mekies? How's Laurent Mekies? What is his career trajectory? I made a whole video on him, which is on my YouTube channel. I will put the link in the description box below. But welcome Laurent Mekies to the Red Bull family. Now, this was a very bad weekend for Lewis Hamilton because he was out in Q1 again. So we will move on to Hungary, because I know none of the Lewis Hamilton fans are liking this video. Now, Hungary was a very slow weekend for Max Verstappen, where he announced that he's not going to win any more races in the future. He's definitely out of the championship. And this was the worst season for him because he finished 9th. Not because of anything else, but because of driving, which is very surprising. Charles Leclerc in Spa starts on pole but has a disaster of a weekend and was literally one of the slowest of all. Like, there is nothing else to say. After Spa, we went to my favorite track, which is Zandvoort. And I don't like Zandvoort because it's Max Verstappen's home Grand Prix. I like Zandvoort because the track is insane. I love the overtakes that can happen in Zandvoort. In Zandvoort, Hamilton is out of the race. Charles Leclerc's strategy is ruined. There was a great overtake on Russell. Charles Leclerc is out thanks to Antonelli. And Lando Norris is out. But we got Isaac Hadjar on podium here, and the championship is in Oscar Piastri's pocket. We all know that Oscar Piastri is going to be World Drivers' Championship of 2025. But things didn't go as we expected, because after that came the next turning point of the season, Monza. Now we have a new floor update for Red Bull in Monza, which makes the car a missile. Oscar obeys some team orders because Lando Norris has a slow pit stop, and that was the end of Oscar Piastri's era. Which gets me to my next question. Did Papaya rules destroy Oscar Piastri? And let me give a disclaimer, this is not about Lando Norris. This is about McLaren's Papaya rules. And in hindsight, the answer to this question is yes. After Monza, Oscar Piastri was honestly destroyed, and he's been very vocal about the fact that he's not being able to put up with the bully from McLaren's side. Oscar Piastri had been amazing all season with literally no errors. He was known as ice cold. But what happened after Monza? He started flipping the script on his own. He started making mistakes. He was not confident. He was not friendly. He was not talking good stuff. It was not the Oscar Piastri who we saw at the start of the season. He was a changed man who was only making errors. So yes, I feel that there is some drama that's happened in the McLaren garage, which we probably don't know about, and that really changed Oscar Piastri. Someday maybe Oscar Piastri will decide to put out an iconic tweet, and then we will know what has happened in the orange garage. But again, I'm saying this is not about Lando Norris and me saying that, oh my god, Lando Norris doesn't deserve the championship. It's not that. It's about how the Papaya rules have played with one person and not with the other. Anyway, the next race that we went to was Azerbaijan, where Oscar Piastri was out. He hit the wall in Q3 and then again hit the same wall in the race. What is wrong with Oscar? But then Norris also kind of struggled in Azerbaijan. It was also the first Williams podium of 2025. Carlos Sainz was on the podium in Azerbaijan. And with that, we had a Max Verstappen win along with Russell. I loved this race. In Singapore, we had the good Mercedes, hence we had a great Russell. In high downforce track, Max Verstappen decides to beat the McLarens and finishes second with the start of the comeback of this century. This is where it all began. In Singapore, we also had a moment between the papayas, and Oscar Piastri did not like that at all. After which, we were racing in Austin, which was a very important race for the championship. The sprint in Austin is very interesting, with the papayas having a big moment. In Mexico, we had a new championship leader, Lando Norris. Behrman finished 4th in Mexico, let's not forget that. Which gets me to the next question. When Lewis Hamilton is a 7-time world champion and he's in a team like Ferrari, what is wrong with Lewis Hamilton? We understand that you cannot perform better than Charles Leclerc because he's been with Ferrari all his life, but at least be on par with Charles Leclerc. I mean, you are a legend. So here is what I feel happened with Lewis Hamilton in Ferrari. I mean, it has been very evident that Lewis Hamilton does not get along with his race engineer, Adami. It also has a lot to do with the settings of Ferrari, which are definitely not working out for Lewis Hamilton. There have been times when he's been really good in front of the press, but there have also been times where he has complained in and all about Ferrari in front of the media, and what he thinks is definitely not working for him. 2025 for Hamilton has been a very expensive disaster. I have no expectations from 2026 as well, and honestly, I don't think we are going to see him on the grid in 2027 as a Formula 1 driver. Next up, we come to Brazil, where I thought that Norris would be crowned as world champion. But Max Verstappen had some other plans. He had a horrible car throughout the weekend, and then they decided to take a chance for Sunday. He started from the pit lane and ended up on the podium. And only one person can do that. Brazil was a horrendous weekend for the Ferrari, and this is where the famous John Alcan's statements were out, which literally got the entire of Italy very angry. Then we come to Vegas, where Lando Norris makes a move on Max Verstappen but does not know the rules of Max Verstappen's game. After the race, we had a double DSQ of McLaren, and that was an early Christmas gift for Max Verstappen, because guys, guess who's back in championship? After Vegas, oh my god, it's a long season, we go to Qatar. Now, Qatar was a masterclass of strategies. On lap 7, we had a little bit of an issue of Hülkenberg, and I think it was with Pierre Gasly, which got out a yellow flag. Now, everyone in the yellow flag has spitted, including Max Verstappen and Lance Stroll, and literally everyone on the grid, except 2 drivers whose team is extremely confident, extremely self-satisfied, and thinks that their drivers and their cars are so good that they do not need a pit stop, even though there is a 2 pit stop strategy compulsory. So you basically have a free pit stop, which you end up not taking, and that is Team McLaren. Thank you, McLaren. As a Red Bull fan, actually as a Max Verstappen fan, I love you guys. Y'all are hilarious. We had Carlos Sainz on podium in Qatar, and we had, thanks to Kimi Antonelli, again, I mean, it was not his fault, but Kimi Antonelli is always there when something happens. He's really been like the catalyst of this entire World Cup championship, if you think about it, guys. Anyway, so he goes wide and Lando Norris overtakes him, which gives him an advantage of 2 points, and Lando Norris wins the championship in Abu Dhabi by 2 points. Which gets me to my next and last question of the video. Does Lando Norris deserve the world championship? Now, Lando Norris is not the best driver on the grid. I don't even think he's in top 3. And he's made a lot of mistakes in this season. He's also made a lot of silly mistakes this season, like Canada. But what I want to say is that Lando Norris does deserve the championship. Yes, he had a flawless car. Yes, he had the team who loves him a lot, and he had a lot of support. But we have to realize that Lando Norris has massively improved this season. From someone who was being called a bottler on social media, someone being called Lando No Wins, someone who had major issues and was struggling so much with mental health, physical health, and whatever, has really made no mistakes in a lot of races. He's also had some great overtakes, and with that, I feel, though it's not my favorite thing, but Lando Norris has shown everyone that he is not your normal kind of champion who's actually dominating the entire season and wins it way before it even reaches Abu Dhabi. He has progressed slowly but beautifully. And with that, I feel yes, Lando Norris does deserve to be the champion of 2025. But 2026, if it's the papaya rules that are going to support him again, then I'm sorry, I don't think that Oscar Piastri should be supportive towards McLaren. This is the recap of the season and some intense questions that I wanted to talk to you guys about. Thank you so much for watching the video. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And ciao. Happy New Year. Love you.